Warning: the following program contains dangerous beliefs. Do not watch this at home or alone. Viewer discretion is advised.
Who cares about discretion and danger? Nothing means anything. They might as well shoot themselves after this.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I want you to calm down for this one, okay?
No.
It all started one fateful day, Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. It's a day which celebrates the coming of Jesus Christ to Jerusalem and the fulfillment of the prophecy of the coming Messiah. I was raised by a Christian mother. I believed, I read the Bible, I prayed every day. But at 12 is the first time I really started suffering in life. My consciousness was waking up. And so, on that Palm Sunday, as I was 12 years old, I was sitting in the church praying with my mother when it suddenly hit me. What the hell are we even doing here? None of this even means anything. I mean, the Bible is made up stories that can't physically happen. The priest is a weirdo, and no matter how much I pray, my life never improves and the suffering never stops. This is an illusion. People believe it because they want to, not because it's true. So I had my first crisis of faith, and I stopped believing in Christianity. And that's when the fangs of nihilism dug deep into my heart and started poisoning it for the first time.
I agree.
Agree with what?
This chapter.
Yeah, but what exactly?
Fuck Christianity.
Whoa! I don't mind Christians, you know?
All them Christians, they can go fuck.
See, when I chose to stop being a Christian, it was because I believed it was false, not true, and I wanted to live by the truth. But I didn't realize what a rabbit hole I was digging myself into in the pursuit of truth. I mean, first of all, what even is truth? Supposedly, it's something that corresponds with objective reality. So, truth equals reality. So let's explore reality to find out what's really true. The most popular framework for viewing reality right now is science and materialism. Scientific materialism believes that there is a physical world, material world, which is constructed of atoms, molecules, quarks, and the like. And you can construct theories, observe this world, create experiments, and measure data to find out the objective truth of reality. Sure, perception can deceive, but through experiments, we can find the truth ultimately. And we know for a fact that the following things are true. The Big Bang created the universe. We exist as physical organisms in space-time. Your brain is composed of neurons. Apples exist. So we know the truth. Einstein said so. Science says so. Surely this is the truth. We know this for a fact. Nothing could ever possibly disprove this. This is the truth. See, science relies on perception. It assumes that what you see is basically what you get. What you see as reality is what really is. It assumes that evolution gave us accurate senses of reality because that was more likely to make us survive, right? But that's probably not true because evolution cares about survival, not about truth. Natural selection favors delusional and biased perception, biased towards survival. A creature which perceives fitness points in the environment biased towards survival is more likely to survive than somebody who objectively sees the truth. For example, look at the colors on the screen right now. Do you really think these colors actually exist? They don't. There's no such thing as color outside of your brain. The only reason you see color is because it helps you find food, survive danger, at least in evolutionary terms. It's kind of hard to tell things apart well without colors, and so humans and most other animals evolved seeing colors. Colors are an example of how we evolved to see something that isn't really there in reality just so we could survive. It's an example of biased perception. But what about objects? I mean, colors are easy to discard, but surely objects with their mass and their movement and their atoms actually exist. Well, let's see. According to classical physics and materialisms, objects are composed of matter, so-called little particles that are the building blocks of everything. Everything is made of little particles, and apples are also made of particles. And because we can see things like atoms through a microscope, we know that they exist. But all of which I said here is probably completely false. See, there is this devilish thing called quantum mechanics. It's the most advanced theory of physics we have right now, and it completely disproves what I just said. In quantum mechanics, particles aren't solid. That is, they exist in many states at once until observed. This is called the superposition. In the double-slit experiment, an electron is fired at a screen with two narrow slits. Instead of going through just one slit, the electron behaves like a wave and passes through both slits at once, creating an interference pattern on the detector screen. But the moment we try to observe which slit the electron goes through, the wave collapses, and the electron is found to have gone through only one. The very act of observation determines the outcome of where the electron would be. It's in both places until it's observed, and then it goes in one place. So, in other words, the apple might not exist, might not be there until you look at it. And your very looking at it constructs the apple, makes the apple a reality. The very act of observation affects the reality you perceive. So there might be no such thing as an observer-independent reality. The best analogy I can give you is that the reality you see might be just like a video game. The characters, gameplay mechanics, etc. aren't what the real video game is composed of. That's not the reality of a video game. The real game is made out of code, transistors, wiring, circuits, etc. But what you see with the characters and the gameplay, that's just an interface, a kind of illusion designed to make you have fun and play the game. That's also true for reality. The screen you see right now, everything you see around you, might just be like a video game, like a friendly interface, and real reality is composed of something entirely different that we don't even know what that is. What I just said is just one interpretation of quantum mechanics. We don't really know what reality is composed of. Right now, it's just theories and speculation. Some say it's matter, others information, others say it's consciousness. But there is literally not a single theory that can, with certainty, be called the truth of reality. It's crazy, right? We can't even answer what the hell is this reality thing, because our senses lie to us and we don't have like a theory which we know for certain. But what does this mean for us? Our whole reality might merely be an illusion, like a video game, and everything you thought that existed might not exist, at least not in the way you thought. So if the truth is reality, but we don't know reality, then that means we don't know the truth. And so really, we only know that we know nothing.
This is all so pointless. You never know reality and the truth. Everything is meaningless. If you can so easily disprove the very notion of physical reality, then all your beliefs of what you thought is true are doomed.
But surely, love still means something, right?
It's just chemical reactions, kid. Oxytocin, dopamine, vasopressin. It's a biological manipulation designed to make you reproduce. Did you really think she was special? She'll only choose who seems like the best guy based on a mix of social status and attraction. And if that happens to be you, she won't really love you. She'll leave as soon as she feels her survival is at stake, and there are better men around. Nobody actually loves one another. We just pretend we do so we don't feel so alone all the time and manage to survive. We're all selfish. You'll be replaced as soon as you don't satisfy the needs of someone else.
What about purpose?
That's just an elaborate story of the human ego. There is no grand cosmic purpose. It's just a mindless, meaningless process of propagating life. Meaning is only a naive desire created in our heads. The universe doesn't care about your purpose. Evolution doesn't care. Humanity is a tiny flash in time and history. Life is fragile and dependent on a million conditions. We'll be dead and extinct before you know it, no matter what you do. Your purpose doesn't matter. The ending is always death.
But what about morals and being good?
There is no objective right or wrong. Morality is just a survival mechanism made for group survival. Highly moral people are the most evil because they see evil everywhere and justify hurting others. Morality is the cause of all evil. Hitler used his moral system to justify World War II and the Holocaust. If you were born there, you would have lapped it all up as the right thing, just like you accepted the beliefs of modern society. Everything you believe is right. You only believe because it's convenient to believe.
Oh, God. But surely we have free will, right?
Give me a break. Everything you do is based on genetics, environment, and prior things that do not depend on you. Sure, you can make decisions, but you are always going to make that decision due to your brain. You can choose, but you can't choose what you want to choose. Free will is yet another illusion of the brain which evolved because creatures who believed it were more likely to take action and survive. You don't even know reality, but you think you have free will?
What about God? What about God?
Oh my god, do you really still believe in God? You must be delusional. Do you really think some giant human made the universe and he specifically cares about you? You're so scared of death that you have to make all this shit up. When you die, you dissolve into nothing, and that terrifies you. The truth is, nobody will save you. You won't live forever. Love, purpose, morals, free will, God, all this is made up so you don't have to face the existential crisis of being in a meaningless reality that you will never understand. Humanity can die at the snap of a finger, and with it, all this fiction will die too. Wait, what? Why is this set you free text appearing in my reality?
Your real name is Larry.
No, how do you know this?
This is why you're a nihilist, isn't it? To be honest, if I was named Larry, I'd jump off a fucking cliff.
No, you can't do this. You can't say this.
Shut up, Larry, with your pessimistic, nihilistic worldview. It's time to set you free. See, your whole life you've been a slave. But what do you mean I've been a slave? I mean that your entire life has been controlled by false narratives of reality that you thought was true. But as we said, we don't know what is the truth. I mean, in order for your brain to function and for you to live normally without having an existential crisis, you need to make sense of the world somehow. And so what does your brain do? It connects the dots. It creates a story, a narrative of how the world works that doesn't actually exist. As we said, we don't really know the true nature of reality. Don't believe me? Okay, let's go over some familiar stories and narratives that were mentioned in this video. Christianity. God created the world, He sent us the Bible and Christ, there is heaven and hell, and if you don't become a Christian, you go to hell. Is any of that true? Probably not. Nazism. The Jews are going to destroy the greatest Aryan race. National Socialism must stop them, and it must stop communism. Is that true? Oh, come on now. The FBI agent is looking at you. You better say no. What about science and materialism? There is an objective material world, and the scientific method can prove the truth. Is this true? No. It might be another narrative because quantum mechanics has made our understanding of science much less secure, and the reality might not be what we think it is. It might not be physical. A lot of physicists are saying that the theory of space-time is actually doomed. Observe this in your life after this video. Notice how your brain creates narratives around everything to make sense of the world, even though we literally know that we don't know what reality is. Oh, my girlfriend left me because she's a bitch. Mosquitoes bite and so mosquitoes are bad. Apples taste delicious. None of these things are objectively true, or we don't know if they are. These are just convenient narratives that just help your survival. People pick and choose their narratives based on convenience, not based on truth. As we said, we don't actually know what the objective truth of reality is. Some narratives are individual, like whether apples are delicious or not, and other narratives are collective, like the scientists, religions, political ideologies. See, with this video, I tricked you. You thought I was gonna say that nihilism is bad, and that you shouldn't be a nihilist and that Larry is wrong. And besides that, he's a huge asshole.
Hey!
See, Larry is an asshole, but he isn't wrong. Nothing in this video I said is false. All of it might be true. Some of it might be false. But the reality is that we don't know the reality. That's the point. Nihilism is kind of correct in that sense that we know nothing. But the conclusion from knowing nothing is not to give up on life. See what nihilism is. It's like a vicious hammer that smashes the chains of your old beliefs. Nihilism annihilates the old narratives that you've built. And so at some point, you realize that the only truth is that you don't actually know nothing, and truth might not even be something that we can prove or ever find. Smashing the chains of your old beliefs and becoming free without any direction really does hurt. In fact, it's the most painful thing in the world. That's why having an existential crisis hurts so much, because you smash your old narratives, your old beliefs into pieces, and now you don't know what to do. An existential crisis is the period between the destruction of old narratives and the construction of new narratives. And nihilism is necessary because it's the only way to escape false narratives and attain true freedom. And you know you have true freedom when you can see the narratives, when you can see other people, their narratives, and how they construct them. You have a higher perspective.
Wait, doesn't this mean that nihilism is also a narrative?
It always was, Larry. Listen, I'm not an armchair philosopher. In fact, this chair doesn't even have any arms, so that proves my point. And I'm not just gonna leave you here with nothing, because I know nihilism is dangerous. But why is this whole thing powerful or necessary? Why escape the delusion? If we don't know reality and we know that we need narratives to survive, what's the point of this video? Isn't this just useless? Why even think about all of this when we know that we know nothing? I mean, after all, there is nothing wrong with being a Christian, being aligned to any political ideology, and, believing in science, or believing in materialism, or whatever. There's nothing wrong with any beliefs as long as you don't hurt anybody. I mean, I know wonderful people that are Christians and that have different ideologies. Why change our beliefs and just get a random existential crisis and just go into nihilism for nothing? Well, it's not for nothing. See, narratives might be just that, stories that don't exist in objective reality, but narratives have real consequences for you in the game of life. Nazism and Christianity might both be narratives, but they have real consequences, and for sure, I know which society I'd rather be in. Narratives are not literally real, but they do have real consequences. Narratives interact in a real way with reality. You might not really understand the programming and the rules of the game and what it's composed of, but you sure as hell know the controls of the game, and you sure as hell don't want to lose the game. If you live life with the wrong narrative, you can die, other people can die, disasters can happen. So we need the correct narratives so we don't die and we can make sense of this world. People like Larry, who are nihilistic, are miserable just because they often deprive themselves of a narrative that they need to live life and practice. I mean, that's why I put Larry out of his misery. But you do need nihilism to gain control of yourself and learn how to construct narratives. It's important to control narratives because if you don't control them, you get stuck in them. And if your narrative is bad, you might suffer or even die because of the wrong beliefs. Example, you have a girlfriend of 3 years, you love her, but she cheats on you. That's terrible. And because of the extreme pain, your brain automatically builds the narrative, right? Your subconscious gives you this narrative that women are fundamentally evil and selfish creatures. This is what you feel. These are the natural thoughts that you get as a consequence of being betrayed. In that moment, you need to zoom out. You need to overcome the pain and see that the evil and selfish thing about women that you've constructed in your head is not actually true. It's just a narrative. And now you need to just adapt the narrative to be more positive, because not all women are selfish, evil, or will cheat on you. It's just that you got unlucky. But in that situation, if you can't control the narrative, you perceive everything as negative. You become a bitter man. You deny your opportunities for relationships with women, and you end up alone. You've built the false narrative and now you have a bad life. People that don't have the skill of controlling narratives get stuck with whatever narrative they happen to be born into. Like whatever society told them first, whatever their parents told them, whatever their friends told them, whatever their circumstances were, and whatever their genetics were. And by the way, this is most people. If you can't control your narrative, your life is based on luck. So let me make the quick argument for two narratives that I believe everybody should have, and I believe that if you don't have these narratives, you will suffer in life. Pragmatism and vivocentrism. Pragmatism is the belief that you should follow what works in practice rather than whether something reflects objective truth. Pragmatism is important because you don't want to end up as a delusional person who believes in objective reality and things that obviously are not objective reality, or you don't want to end up as a nihilist who just gives up on everything. Vivocentrism is the belief that life is inherently valuable and that it's morally right to live, reproduce, and contribute living creatures. And vivocentrism is something that I just made up because apparently I couldn't find any term or anybody who had ever told of this. Now, why vivocentrism is genuinely important is because when you believe that life is so important and it's the most important thing, then you won't randomly jump off a building because of some weird ideology, and you also avoid kind of destroying other people as well. If you believe in life as the most important thing and then you use pragmatism to discern what to do with this life, then you free yourself up to live your best life despite the truth that we don't know anything. At least that's my theory, but that's for another video to break down.
Wait, so you didn't kill me?
No, Larry, I wasn't here to kill you. I was here to free you. And even your name is a narrative, by the way. In objective reality, nothing like a Larry actually exists. You can change it anytime, but your mom will still call you Larry.
Wow, thanks man. Now I will control the narrative of my life forever and never be stuck with things I don't want, like the name Larry. Life is awesome. I'm not a hopeless nihilist anymore. Mom was right, this was just a phase. I'm going to go hit the waves now, man. And by the way, you can call me Eugene.
You're welcome, Eugene. Still a terrible name. Now, if you want to learn what to do with this life thing now that you know this, check out this video. And remember, master yourself, master your life.